Hey everybody, Jackson here with Dad and Mom Productions. Today I got a brand new Max patch for you. This is a revamp of my monosynth from Project 3. The notable changes I made to it, I just streamlined it a bit. I removed the duty cycle manipulation and the detune control, and I just cleaned it up a bit aesthetically. I also added a vocoder on the end. I basically just wanted to make a monosynth marketable to the everyman. The monosynth works using input from a MIDI keyboard. The input runs into the DDG mono object, which causes it to behave like a monosynth. A monosynth only plays one note at a time, and while you're playing a note, the next note you hit will take over, and then when you release that second note, it'll return to the original note. The ADSR envelope is controlled by the DDG VLAMP object. And what this does is it gives the user control over the attack and release times using MIDI controls. The higher the numeric value from 0 to 127, the slower the attack and release times. The monosynth has two sets of 3 oscillators, each with independently controlled saw, square, and triangle waves. This allows the user to create a wide range of synth sounds varying in abrasiveness or smoothness by blending together different oscillators. A wider, more powerful synth sound can be created by blending 2 of the same waves together, using both sets of oscillators. The second set of oscillators runs into a harmonizer with 4 options for intervals. This is accomplished by adding semitones to the note value inputted from the MIDI keyboard. For example, plus 12 for an octave up or plus 7 for a perfect fifth up. The intervals are unison, octave down, perfect fifth above, and octave above. The selected harmony is controlled by the user through MIDI. Next, the signal passes through a low-pass filter. Through MIDI, the user can control the cutoff frequency, which dictates which frequencies are allowed to pass, the overall gain, which controls the volume of all frequencies, and the slope, or Q, which controls how resonant the frequency is. Manipulating these values while playing can produce some interesting synth sounds. The low-pass filter can't be bypassed, but it can be made inaudible by turning the cutoff frequency and the gain to max. With these values at max, the slope has no effect on the sound. The next effect in my monosynth is a wobble effect. This is created using low-frequency oscillation, where the user is able to control the rate and the intensity of the beating. Using MIDI controls, the intensity can go from very mild and subtle to very aggressive. And the rate of the beating from a fast fluttering effect to a slow warble. This effect can be stacked with the harmonizer and the low-pass filter to create unique and interesting sounds. The final effect and the newest addition to my monosynth is a vocoder. What a vocoder does is it imprints the spectral characteristics of speech onto a musical tone. This effect would work with a mic input, but for this demonstration, I'll be using a recording of George Takei reading an excerpt from 50 Shades of Grey. Here's the unaffected, unvocoded audio file.
I tilt my head back, my eyes rolling to the back of my head, my mouth slack, and I groan. The pressure is building slowly, inexorably inside me. Oh my.
And now, through use of the vocoder, here's George Takei singing an excerpt from 50 Shades of Grey.
I tilt my head back, my eyes rolling to the back of my head, my mouth slack, and I groan. The pressure is building slowly, inexorably inside me. Oh my.
Isn't that something? Now, as you can hear, it immediately returns to the synth sound when I release the vocoder button. The vocoder is driven by a subpatch that maps the frequencies of the speech and the note onto a Cartesian plane, then multiplies them together and sends them to the output. Because human speech contains sounds that aren't pitched, such as S or T sounds, I had to make a noise generator to simulate these sounds while the vocoder is in use.
I tilt my head back, my eyes rolling to the back of my head, my mouth slack, the pressure is building.
I did this using the Xerox tilde object, which counts the amount of zero crossings in a signal vector.
I tilt my head back, my eyes.
When that number is greater than 8, it treats it as a consonant sound and sends noise through. Otherwise, it's treated as a pitched tone and sends the pitched sound through.
Oh my. I tilt my head back, my eyes rolling to the back of my head, my mouth slack, and the pressure is building slowly.
The vocoder, like the low-frequency oscillator, is also stackable with all the other effects in the monosynth. This allows you to generate some very unique sounds.
I tilt my head back, my eyes rolling to the back of my head, my mouth slack, and the pressure is building slowly, inexorably inside me. Oh my.
Alright, so that's my patch. It's a monosynth with 2 oscillators and a built-in harmonizer, low-frequency oscillator, low-pass filter, and vocoder. Happy holidays, everyone, and for more Max MSP tutorials, check out our other Dad and Mum production where Joel talks about his step sequencer.